and welcome to Starknet All Core Devs call number 40. Before we begin, a quick housekeeping rules that we'll be recording this session for those who could not join us today live. So please keep yourself muted when you're not speaking and minimize the background noise if possible. And I would also want to remind everyone that we have moved our call to this new timing. And most of us are not present today because some people are uh, occupied at DevConnect right now, but we have all the relevant people who will be giving updates today. So let us get started with the five main agenda items to cover today. And I would like to keep us on a schedule to respect everyone's time. So let's get started. So section one is where Ohad can help us, where we are discussing about deployment timeline and network statuses. So our first agenda item is version of 14.1 deployment timeline and network status, which Ethan said in our last call that we'll have some timeline ready by now. And it was said that the deployment was flagged for a potential delay due to the Starknet RS SDK transition to SVM. And so we would like to have a more clarity on this, Ohad, if you have the knowledge about this. So yeah.
Yeah, so actually testnet 0.14.1 happened yesterday.
Mhm.
And mainnet 0.14.1 is currently planned for 10th of December. It was pushed a week from 3rd of December to not collide with the other integrations we expect to have in the near future in the applicative layer. Um, I will say that the testnet upgrade went not as good as we hoped. Um,
Mhm.
and as we speak, Eitan is in parallel meet with engineers to see how we can improve the upgrade process and what additional preparations we want to make so mainnet upgrade will be smoother. So it's possible that some of the action items that will postpone 0.14.1 by a bit more. I'll have a final date next week. Just to recap, yesterday we had 30 minutes of unexpected downtime on testnet. And then after we finished to upgrade, we found some bugs in the end-to-end transaction chain that were also on integration, and we hoped should surface through like full nodes and SDK integration with the integration environment, but for some reason we discovered them only yesterday. Um, so yeah.
Okay. And would you be able to elaborate a bit as to what type of blockers or concerns did you face during this testnet deployment?
Sorry, say again?
So, I mean, if you can elaborate a bit as to what type of blockers or concerns happened during this testnet deployment?
Yeah. So the major issues that caused the 30 minutes downtime is that some, like on integration, we updated from 0.14 to a version of 0.14.1 that had a bug, which we found and fixed on integration. And then we upgraded from an old 0.14.1 to a newer 0.14.1 on integration. In testnet, we went straight ahead from 0.14 to the newer 0.14.1 flavor. And in this jump, we actually created a like backward incompatibility issue that wasn't there in integration when we had this intermediate version. So our engineers were like quick to see, okay, what isn't working and how can we revert or like adapt the code fast so the end-to-end flow will work. And this is what caused the half-hour downtime.
Okay. Okay. And when it comes to network stability and performance, how has the Blake hash computation work been progressing with the client teams? So, are there any notable performance impacts on RPC calls?
Um, I have not a lot of news in this direction.
Okay.
I know that today we experienced some spike in some of the RPC calls. This
Mhm.
is due to some overload on the feeder gateways. Some people are asking for like many trace cells of transactions for all transactions. And
Mhm.
those are expensive requests that consume some of our CPUs, so we are applying fixes. Prior to today, I'm not aware of any major stability issues in the RPC latency front. But yeah.
Okay. So thank you for this comprehensive update, Ohad. And let us move to our client teams for some other updates. And we'll now hear from each of these client teams on their implementation updates and release statuses. So we'll start with Pathfinder. So Christian, in the last call, you mentioned that you were planning to release for early November with Blake Hash recomputation. So could you start us by letting us know like how that went and what is the deployment status and JSON RPC production validation? Any issues or feedback in that area?
Yeah, okay. So we did indeed release Pathfinder 0.21.0 last week in preparation for this week's Stepulia testnet upgrade. We unfortunately, so there are no sync related issues we know of with this version, but there was a bug in our execution layer that was causing issues with producing block traces for blocks that were containing a declared transaction. And a couple of other use cases were affected as well, like transaction simulation with certain transactions and so on. So we have just released a new version of 21.1 today, this morning, that indeed does fix this issue. And we know that some RPC providers have already upgraded to the new version. Some of them are still planning to do so. But apart from that, we know of no major issues, and this one seems to have been fixed with our latest release today. Regarding JSON RPC 0.10, we haven't really got too much feedback. We are still waiting for some Starknet RS PRs to be merged and a release with JSON RPC 0.10 support to be released, and then we'll continue with our own tests as well. Plus, we'll be sooner or later we'll be migrating our validator attestation tool as well to the new JSON RPC version, or at least begin testing with the new version. So that's pretty much how the upgrade went from our perspective. There has also been some discussion in adding some end-to-end flows that do run on the integration network, because it turns out that this particular problem with L2 gas prices yesterday that had to be fixed after the upgrade was also present on Sepolia integration. So it really could have been found if we had better end-to-end tests doing a complete end-to-end flow involving fee estimation for a transaction and then submitting that transaction. So that's another work item for us and for many other participants in the ecosystem as well, I guess.
Okay. Thank you, Christian, for that update. And next up, I would like to have Rodrigo, but I see that he's not available in the call. So we'll be skipping the part for Juno as of now. And we can go to Carnot and let's talk with Hemang. So Hemang, in the last call, you mentioned that Madara and SNOS 0.14.0 pre-releases were ready, and you were planning to put out the full releases. So could you update us on where those stand right now? Madara 0.14.0, SNOS 0.14.0, and 0.14.1 work evaluation. How have you been able to start this, and what's the timeline that you guys have in mind?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ayush. So for 14.0, we actually did two pre-releases, and we are almost ready to get a proper release out there. We had some fixes that we had to do, but that's all done and dusted now, and we are pretty much confident about the 14.0 updates that we've made to Madara and SNOS. So from that, we have moved on to 14.1 compatibility. We understood the work changes, requirement, and everything, and we are going for a timeline of about 2 weeks, and hopefully by the next call, we would have something
Mhm,
substantial on the 14.1 updates, uh, compatibility for Madara and SNOS, the RPCs and everything. So that's majorly been on evaluation of 14.1. Apart from that, there have been some production ready changes, and I think in the last call I mentioned that there was a type of sync that we were working on that is called Snap Sync that has completely been merged. We have also been able
mhm,
to do and put a lot of time into Cairo native work as well. So we are almost
mhm,
ready with it. We are testing it out. It's been on the mock testnet that we run, and yeah, we're almost done with it. So yeah, majorly it's been about compatibility with 14.1, understanding of that, and production readiness that we have been working on. On one more thing is on the L3 side, we have been pushing forward to get the L3s working with the main branch of Madara. So hopefully we would
mhm,
be having the compatibility very soon. So yeah, that's
mhm.
been all the updates majorly.
Okay. And would you be guys be releasing any type of benchmarking for how fast the optimization is for the snap sync that you guys release?
Yeah,
Do you
surely.
guys have any
So
plans?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is what I was asking. Like, if you will be releasing some type of benchmarking numbers.
Yeah, so we did extensive amount of benchmarking, and we have that available in the PR description as well. I'll share that with
Mhm,
everyone on the full node channel soon enough so that we can have a look
mhm,
as to how it works and everything. We'll be giving a detailed description as to how it works and it betters the sync that we have.
mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the update, Hemant. And there was one more question I actually wanted to ask Ethan, but like he is not here, so Ohad, you would have to answer this. But in the last call, when I asked about O14.2 planning, he specifically mentioned that he would have a concrete information for us uh, till this call. So if you have any idea, like those details, which you can share with the group about O14.2 planning.
I can share details, but they will be mostly around why there isn't good answer to 0.14 planning. Um,
Okay.
so actually, most of the features that we currently work on or seeing they are high priority will not require a new Starknet version. Some of them are
Mhm,
100% internal, such as a more robust stress testing framework for all the scenarios, or a platform to mimic mainnet traffic to a testnet environment so we can do the compatibility tests better. Others do change Starknet but are totally transparent and do not touch the Starknet OS. One thing, for example, is that currently our gateways were checked only up to um, roughly 35, 40 requests per second for each gateway. So this puts like a global threshold of 120 TPS on the network. And when we actually receive so many requests, you see that validation time goes up, which creates suboptimal UX. And some of the requests are even invalid. So it means that, people start to get those 4 to 9 requests, even when we have
mhm,
like 20 TPS, because the vast majority of the requests are actually not valid add transaction requests. So this is something we'll work on. We'll change the gateways. It doesn't affect the Starknet OS, so it doesn't require a new Starknet version. There are also some bottlenecks around throughput in areas that are not correlated to the Starknet OS that we'll try to work on. So, yeah, a lot of internal features that can be transparently applied over 0.14.1 and do not require a version bump are currently
mhm,
planned. Obviously, I'll work on increasing the transparency of what we are doing and why. If you have some suggestions on what you'd like to see here communication-wise from our side, I'd love to get your
mhm,
feedback and improve because it's definitely under-communicated at the moment.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, like I was thinking if you can have a research post or like any type of post posted from you guys, either on the research forums or like somewhere more public. I'll try to decide where we can post it. But yeah, if we can have like how we post things about like this is the roadmap that we have in mind, these are the changes that would be happening, and like we can have a transparent thing, and we can share it with all the people inside the community.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully next week.
Okay. And maybe we can use the same like the Starknet All Core Devs repo to post those type of updates that will be coming. Are you aware about that repo which I'm mentioning, where we are posting the agendas and the meeting notes and everything? So if we can, maybe we can use the same repo to do this thing.
Okay, that's an interesting suggestion.
Okay. 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 So the next topic on the agenda is consensus implementation updates, but I don't see Jasmina here. So we would have to skip that as well. And then we come to the last section, which is AOB. So does anyone have any other topics that they would like to discuss or any questions for the group? We are barely a group today. So anyways, so all right, if there's nothing else, we can proceed to close. And so thank you everyone for all of you for joining today's call for the updates that you have shared. So a reminder before we close, our next call is scheduled for Thursday, December 4th at the same time, 12 p.m. UTC. So that's 2 weeks from today, same time. And the recording of today's call will be published on YouTube channel, and meeting notes will be shared on GitHub in the same repository that I was mentioning. So thank you all for your time and contribution, and have a great rest of your day. We'll see us in 2 weeks again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.